Cornish holidaymakers are being warned to stay away from seals following claims from the harbour master that they could tear a child's arm off. Signs have been put up around St Ives seafront instructing people to keep their distance from them. Well, Sky Siobhan Robbins is live in St Ives for us. And Siobhan, this is a very alarming warning from the harbour master. Just how dangerous are seals?
Well, if you have a look behind me, you can see the harbour here. The tide's out at the moment, but when that tide comes in, the water comes all the way up to the beach, and with it is this group of seals that enjoy the water. Now, that isn't a problem. Of course, you can stand and watch them from a distance, no issue at all. The issue here is, though, that people have been going into the water and crowding the seals, and that's led to this warning because, of course, they're wild animals and there are concerns that they can do a lot of damage. Now, let's talk to the person who's issued this warning, the harbour master, as you mentioned. Steve, seriously, how dangerous do you think these animals can be, and what have you been seeing people doing that's led to this concern?
Well, it's not the animals, it's the people I'm afraid of. The people are getting far too close. I think they want educating that these seals that come into harbours are wild. You know, they try to feed them, they give their youngsters food to feed them. And a bite from a seal, you know, when they put their hand out for food, this is my main concern. So we've just increased all the signage around to try and make people aware that these seals are wild and not to go in the water with them.
You're saying they're allowing little children to feed the seals. What sort of danger could a seal pose to a small child if it got frightened?
Well, not being funny, I'm a grandparent myself, and a loss of limb I think wouldn't be exaggerating the point, you know. If you can imagine when the water comes in here, if you look up to the top, the tide comes in, you get a seal, you've got all those people up there that are on the water's edge, and a lot of them in the water semicircling the seal. And my fear is that the seal will feel trapped or something like that, or somebody will spook it, and you know, we just got to make sure that these people know that these seals are wild.
Just to get the message clear, you're not telling people the beach isn't safe, don't go in the water. You're saying just give the seals some space.
Yeah, and enjoy. You know, a seal is a wild animal. You know, just enjoy it, give it plenty of room. You can still see it from the sea shore there without going in the water, which is our biggest fear.
OK, Steve, we'll leave it with you there, but I'm just going to speak to another guest that we've got here now. This is Dan Jarvis. He's a seal expert from the Cornish Seal Sanctuary. Dan, Steve's been telling us about the danger he fears the seals might pose to people, but what are your concerns about the danger to the seals themselves?
Well, the closer contact with being in and around harbours, you know, there's boat propellers that they could get hit by, and sadly have done in the past here and other locations as well where we have this issue. Also being in water that's got diesel oil contamination in it as well, it's not very good for their eyes, and in extreme cases can cause them real significant harm. The other problem is as well, sometimes people's behaviour isn't always with the best of intentions, and although it might be fun to try and feed a seal off the side of the harbour wall, not only is, as Steve the harbour master's already said, people putting themselves at risk, but also putting the seals at risk from people who might not have such good intentions. So there's people who tombstone directly on top of them. That's definitely going to provoke potentially an aggressive reaction. And, you know, as Steve said again, their teeth are quite large. They've got a very powerful bite. They could easily cause quite significant injuries. And again, we've had one extreme case many years ago, granted, where late at night one of the seals was lured up onto a beach and people attempted to set it on fire. So really horrendous things, you know, and people don't really think that one simple action of just trying to feed a seal can lead on to such serious consequences for them. And all we'd say is, as Steve again has already said, is they're wild animals. Just leave them be to do their own thing. They don't need to be interfered with. They don't need to be approached so closely. You can enjoy them still from a distance and still have a spectacular sighting, and that way it just puts everybody at a lot less risk from accidents happening.
Dan, thank you very much. Well, you heard the message there. Enjoy the beach, enjoy the wildlife, don't get too close. And for those who are doubting how dangerous the seal can be if it's in danger or feels that it's at risk, their jaws are 4 times as strong as those of a Rottweiler. So this really is something to respect the wildlife rather than trying to touch it.
Yes, maybe just stand back and take some pictures. OK, Siobhan, thank you.